What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Nick at Night. So we're going to talk about the books we picked up this week. We got a nice little fat stack here, something from every publisher just about, so stay tuned. All right, guys, welcome back. So we do have a bunch of books to go through today. This is going to be fairly non-spoilery. I never give away like major plot points. I talk about it at a high level, kind of what I liked and what I disliked, just kind of at a high level. Again, I'm not going to give away any like surprising things. I'll tell you if there's a decent cliffhanger, things like that. So if you haven't read the books this week, I'd say that you're pretty safe to watch this video. Give it a chance. If I give away a little bit too many details or more details than you're expecting, then just kind of let me know. I'll try to tone it back. But let me know what you think, because I really like doing these videos and I don't want to ruin these books for anybody. But I like to read them quickly and let you know what I thought about them, so maybe you can pick it up if you're on the fence. But with that being said, also check in the description below. There's really cool channels on there for the PCP Army Bad Batch. Links are in the description. And while you're down there, like, subscribe, and ding that notification bell for future videos. So let's go ahead and get started. As always, we start with the big two, because it's usually the shortest list. So the only Marvel book I got was Heroes Reborn number 5, Jason Aaron. And you know what? I'm loving Heroes Reborn. So I think this is why. So I'm not a big Marvel guy, as a lot of you may know. I'm not really up on any of the X titles. I mean, I'm reading Daredevil, I'm reading Thor, but like if it's X-Men related, if it's Avengers related, if it's, Captain America, Iron Man, all those, whatever else is going on right now, I'm not reading it. I need to dip back into it because X-Men's kind of starting over again soon. But with that said, I picked up Heroes Reborn number 1, and I kind of just took it as is, right? Without kind of any previous knowledge. I have no clue if any of the titles kind of led into that or not, but I'm on issue 5, and I'm actually loving it. It's kind of been a good jumping on point for me. Maybe I'm missing some context. And if I am, I'd love to know and leave me a comment below if I'm missing any kind of context that led up to this event. But essentially, the world is not what it seems. It's kind of like an alternate version. Blade somehow is the only person who remembers what it used to be, or maybe like an alternate dimension. And there's some other characters in this run so far that are kind of witnessing or also know that something's just not quite right. But Blade is like fully aware. So he's trying to go around gathering a team of people who suspect something is off or remember things being a different way. And so he's got a nice little group of people so far, and they recruit yet another person at the end here. So it's a pretty powerful team he's putting together. Not quite sure where this is going. Every issue so far seems to be interesting combinations of different characters. We have like the Doctor Doom and Juggernaut combination, things like that. And they're kind of storylines and things we haven't quite seen before. And then at the end, so, typically throughout the issue, we're going to have their little arc. They're fighting their bad guys. They're doing whatever they're doing. And then at the end, we get this kind of like Blade, hey, things are wrong in this world, so come join us kind of a thing. And then that's where it is. So we haven't really caught right back up with our main team that's been building. We've been kind of building the team so far. We're on 5 issues. So I'm waiting to see, in other words, what this team is going to end up being, and then what they're going to do. What's the plan? Do they know who's causing all this? Who caused this big issue? I don't know. We'll see. But I've been having a lot of fun with it. Color, art, lettering, everything has been pretty cool. I've enjoyed it for what it was, or for what it is. So I know some people don't like it, but to each his own. I'm having a blast with it. And I think it helps that it's a weekly book, because it's just so fresh on my mind. So I pick it right back up. It's still fresh. I'm reading it. I'm enjoying it. Yeah, I like it. So Heroes Reborn number 5, not a bad book from Marvel. And guess what? That's the only Marvel book I got. Amazingly enough. I did pick up some good DC books. Let's start with Rom V Goodness, as always, with Perkins and Spicer. So we got some Swamp Thing. This is issue number 4. Pretty good issue. It's more about what the green is. It's more about kind of orienting Swamp Thing into his new ability. He's trying to understand there's like this contagion that's taking over the green. We kind of get an understanding of where the contagion came from. So everyone in the green is really worried about this spread of this contagion in the green. He kind of gets oriented as what the green is, its history. It's really kind of psychedelic and interesting. And the color and the art style really make it all pop. So I'm really, really loving what I'm seeing. I'll flash a little page here about him kind of exploring what the green means. So hopefully you can get a good view of that. Again, the color and the art is just incredible. Really, really love it. Really immersive. It's kind of got like this muddy vibe to it, which is perfect, obviously, for Swamp Thing. But it's vibrant where it needs to be. And I just had a blast with it so far. I've never really read Swamp Thing prior, and I'm really loving what I'm reading here. So it's Rom V, so it's going to be brilliant anyways. And it's a character that I've always been interested in, but never really read too much about. So we do have a little tie-in with another team on the back page here, and I think they're going to be showcased prominently in the next issue. I'm wondering if it's because of a new movie coming out soon. I'm not going to really spoil it. It's not really a huge spoiler, but you'll know what I mean if you read the last page of this issue or saw the cover for issue 5, because I think they're on the cover. So Swamp Thing, always a good read. 4 issues in, 10 issue run, Rom V goodness. Don't pass up on Swamp Thing. It's great. All right, super hot book. We have the nice house on the lake. Tinian. Just great. This is the Martin Simmons cover. It's cover B. Did get the A cover as well. And so this book is interesting. I'm not going to go into spoilers, but how I would kind of phrase it is, it's if anyone's old enough to remember The Real World from MTV, imagine The Real World, but it's all people that know each other. They're kind of like either the top of their area or respected in their area, I would say. And they kind of get together and then an apocalypse happens. That's basically the premise. But I mean, the execution's really good. So it kind of has it kind of starts more in the future, and then it kind of backtracks about how they kind of got there, the different people that are involved, the relationship between those people, this mysterious guy kind of organizing everything. And so I don't want to get too spoilery with this particular book. It's very interesting. I can't wait to see where it goes. It's got like a little bit of it's got an apocalyptic vibe, and it's got some strangers that are just trying to figure out what's going on. So that's all I'm going to say. I don't want to go too much into this book. I enjoyed it. I know it's a lot of people's pick of the week, and it was my local comic shop's pick of the week. I think it was Robbie's pick of the week as well. The Nice House on the Lake, #1. Can't say more about that book. James Tynion, man, he's kind of killing it on everything. All right, last DC book. We have Batman 109, not 9, like I said in my poll video. I think I just said 9 because it's 109. So who's counting at this point, right? So this is actually really a good action-packed book. We have some interesting dynamics between Ghostmaker and Harley, and the Gardener shows up. I think it's the first full appearance is what I'm hearing of the Gardener. Let me see if I can find her in here. So there she is right there in the top. So pretty cool. Used to be a love interest of Ivy, kind of fell out. And so now here's the Gardener, but she's also really concerned about Ivy right now. And so she's kind of enlisting the help of Harley to help her get Ivy back or get her going again. So I'm wondering, I'm reading Catwoman as well. Didn't come out this week. So are those stories overlapping right now? I know this one is Tynion. I know Catwoman is Rom V. Everyone's worried about Ivy in this issue. She's kind of missing, but in Catwoman, we know where she is. And so I'm wondering what the timeline discrepancy is. If you know in the comments, let me know, because I really, really hope that the timelines are synced in this, but I feel like they might not be. But there's a little bit of overlap in some Ivy stuff anyways, right? So that's okay. As far as the Batman story in this goes, really cool. We actually get some Simon Saint action in here. We get some Peacekeeper 01 debut in here as well. And the confrontation between him and Batman doesn't quite go as planned. We get some pretty cool action in here. And we get a little bit of a little bit of motivation from Simon Saint as well. People kind of think, oh, Scarecrow is this big bad guy, and he's he's doing his thing, which he is. But we get a little bit more motivation from Simon Saint's perspective as well, which is interesting. And so I think Ghostmaker is going to have to kind of help out. Peacekeeper seems like a badass. He kind of won round one here, but we'll see what happens when Batman gets his bearings, understands who he's up against, and maybe some Ghostmaker and Harley team ups. That would be pretty cool. I do have a feeling that Harley and Ghostmaker are going to kind of go in their own way, and Batman and possibly the Bat family are going to have to take care of this business over here. But pretty cool read, man. Tynan's killing it there too. I mean, he's doing Nice House on the Lake. He's doing Batman. He's doing tons of books. It's really, really, really impressive to see, all the different things that he's doing right now. Speaking of someone who's doing a lot of things right now, we're going to move over to Boom Studios. This is Basilisk #1. This is Colin Bunn. So Colin Bunn's kind of one of those artists who's touched pretty much every franchise. If you kind of look up what he's been covering over the past several years, his catalog is huge. And so I think Colin Bunn's going to be definitely an artist. I mean, from my perspective, definitely an artist that's been kind of up in the game lately. And he's done a lot of good stuff. So Basilisk is no exception. This is chapter 1, they call it. First thing I'm going to mention here is the color. So the first few pages, the coloring is hauntingly beautiful. So you get this this high contrast, kind of muddy. I think it's the second time I've used the word muddy to describe it, but it's like a high contrast, kind of like an overexposure kind of thing. And that really kind of sets the stage for this just eeriness of these people that kind of come in and attack this town. They're like zombified. They're like zombified, but they're not quite zombies. They just kind of grab some guy and they just murder him right there by their touch. So it's these people that kind of just came out of nowhere. They look like they're wearing scrubs or some kind of outfits that were kind of pieced together. They look like scrubs in color and fit. But they just start murdering these people. And so you kind of get this in the past. These people show up, they cause all this trouble. It kind of fast forwards a little bit, and we find out that somebody had maybe a relative or a lover or something like that murdered by this group, and she's kind of hunting them down and has singled one of them out. It just so happens the one that they singled out kind of left the group, kind of matured or evolved or whatever, and left the group and is kind of on their own. But so they kind of have a fight, and then the group that she kind of fled from kind of gets wind that she's still out there, and maybe they should go track her down and get her. So it was an interesting book. I did like the pacing. I did love the art style. I thought the story was intriguing. I think it lacked a little bit. It had some good punch moments to it, but I think we could have gotten a little bit more maybe in the beginning and in the end. I think the middle was great. But the setup in the beginning was interesting. The middle dialogue and the conflict was interesting too. The coloring and the paneling was really interesting. I think the end needed a little bit more of a punch, but it was okay. It was good. It was good. It was actually one book I was really, really looking forward to, and I think it delivered. So we'll see what issue 2 or chapter 2 and chapter 3 brings. But Colin Bunn, be on the lookout for that guy, because he's on tons of titles. And he has a lot of experience with a lot of different characters. So looking forward to seeing what else he's got going on. All right. Moving over to Aftershock. Peter Milligan, another highly anticipated book, at least in my circles, was Out of Body #1. Just based on the cover alone, it's like a psychedelic. What the heck's going on in there? It looks like some guy in a trench coat and some kind of weird, diving suit, helmet kind of thing, just getting sucked into some kind of rainbow of color, right? It's kind of crazy. So the solicitation for this kind of spoke about, astral plane, out of body experiences, good title. And so it did cover some of that. So we have this story where this guy was allegedly mugged or attacked. He wakes up kind of unconsciously in a ICU. He's on a ventilator. He's he's obviously in some kind of a induced coma, for lack of a better word. And so they're not quite sure if he's going to make it, but he is actually awake. He's got this inner monologue or this inner dialogue. There's different characters that come in and out of the room, discuss different things in front of him, and he can kind of understand and hear them, but he can't respond back. So it's a very frustrating thing, trying to figure out why he's in this state. He doesn't quite know who would attack him. But then you have this other storyline where there's kind of like this medium who's this girl who's kind of in a meditative state. She kind of contacts these different spirits. And I suppose she tries to just help them in however she can. She's kind of like a medium for hire, which is interesting. But then you have this other villainous aspect who, wants souls somehow. And this one guy is trying to get souls. So you have a lot of different things going on here. You got a guy attacked. He's unconscious on a ventilator, having all this inner monologue. You have a medium who's a medium for hire. And she runs into this guy who needs extra help. You also have this villain who's like wanting souls. So you have a lot of things going on here. And they spent the majority of the time with the main character in the unconscious state. And, there was a few moments in there where some dialogue from the physician and dialogue from the different people just felt kind of out of place. But, whatever. There's some psychedelic medications introduced here. There's some further out-of-body experiences that were shown. And the art and everything is pretty interesting. And the coloring is interesting. You have a bunch of bodies floating around. And you have a medium trying to catch these guys. And so I'm just thinking, there's a lot of different things going on here. And so I'm hoping that issue 2 and 3 kind of piece it all back together. And you got a mystery of how we got to that state to begin with, the medium, the antagonist. So I'm just trying to figure out, are they going to be able to flush all that out? I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say that he will. But we will see. Out of Body number 1, Aftershock. Interesting book. A lot of different threads, though. So let's try to get all those threads taken care of. All right. So Jeff Lemire's Family Tree, bringing on the Image books. This is Family Tree issue number 12, the last issue. So this book was, it feels like 2 to 3 months in the making, or, we had to wait that long since issue number 11. So Family Tree, very, very interesting premise. The premise is basically that a little girl, as she's growing up, she starts to turn into a tree. Little by little, it's kind of like a disease taking over. The grandfather seems to know more about this than anybody else and has kind of accepted it. And there's some other folks that have known about this. There's a whole organization trying to shut it down. There's a family learning about it for the first time. So you have this mixture of organization trying to stop it, family learning it's a thing, part of the family knows it's a thing and is trying to protect it and promote it. And so she kind of evolves over time, and it's this gigantic conflict between this organization and the family to try to, either save the girl or take out the girl. So this is issue 12. Real interesting. It's nothing that you see it all kind of coming after you get to a certain point. It ends exactly how you think it would end. The sacrifices were made where they needed to be made. Nothing too extraordinary. Very cool coloring and whatnot on here. So it's an interesting story. It's full of heart. I really, really enjoyed the ride. Nothing too groundbreaking or earth-shattering in the last issue, but it was the ending that probably I thought we needed for it. And I'm not too sure what else you would have done with it. So I did like it. They did leave it kind of open-ended at the very last panel. So it was kind of a cute way to end it with, is this going to continue? Is there going to be somebody else that might have the same power? What's going to happen to the world? So Family Tree number 12, Jeff Lemire. Interesting read. I have all 12 of them. And I did enjoy it. So there you go. I'll be kind of sad to see it go. All right, let's move on to the last couple issue books, or Image books. We got Firepower number 12. Love this cover. Absolutely love the cover. It's got like that old school vibe to it. Is this the Larson cover? I keep forgetting who did this particular variant. I'm pretty sure. Looks like it. Okay, so Firepower. So this is actually the conclusion of the big battle between Owen and his faction and the other factions that they're fighting. And so lots of cool things were revealed in here. We kind of got a, closure on that whole battle. It feels like that whole arc is wrapped up. Of course, they left a couple things open-ended. They left a couple, they put a couple seeds in there for the next arc. And, I enjoyed it. It was an oversized issue. We had some teases of some extra like supernatural beings from the other factions kind of coming alive. We didn't quite get that. We got some threats that had showed up in previous issues that we haven't seen in a little while show back up, which kind of plants the seeds for further battles. So so our family's just kind of reorienting themselves, going home, kind of shaking off what they just went through, and we get some seeds for the next arc here. So Firepower issue 12, never a bad read. It's always interesting. It's always consistent. It's always got some good action and whatnot in there. So yeah, and the covers have been really nice. All right, and we got Nocterra, one of my favorite books, absolute favorite book, Scott Snyder. This is issue 4. This is that Jenny Frison variant. Anything she does, I'm picking up. She's so talented. All right, so Nocterra. So what I love about this book is they do a great job of kind of orienting the current, the real moment with something that kind of happened in the past. So it's kind of like lessons learned from the past. They go back, they kind of give you a little bit more context, and then they kind of bring it right back to the present day, and it kind of applies in a very creative way. And so I do like that a lot. Art and coloring is great. There's a lot of things you can do with a book that's based on illuminating yourself to stay alive. So you can get pretty creative with the coloring, but then you get like these dramatic, like black, I'm going to call it a black splash page, just because it's an entire page. If there's a better way to say it, let me know. You get to like these just dramatic black pages with some dialogue on there that leaves you in suspense. And then it's a good way to kind of gap what happened in the past and then what happens now. It's a decent transition. So we kind of get to our destination over here. Of course, there's big battles. We're trying to save our main character's brother right now. And so we finally kind of gotten to a point where we've reached our destination we tried to reach, although it was kind of hell to get there. We get a little bit more on Blacktop Bill, I think his name is. He's that man that's he's just solid black, like that infinite black color. And we know he's a bad dude. I just really wish we saw more of him. But, he's ruthless. He's in the book still. He's on the hunt. And so our main characters have reached their destination despite being chased down by him. And so hopefully we're going to get some cool reveals soon. We did get a little decent reveal at the end when Tiberius was introduced, who's Gus's brother, who is the man that was bringing the girl to the destination that they were trying to get to, because they said that they can bring back the light. So can this guy actually help them? Can they help their brother? Is the light there? We kind of get some teases of all that towards the end of the issue. So really good issue. I'm liking the pace. This was probably, I'm not going to say it's the weakest issue so far. It's probably close though. Weakest issue, but it does kind of progress the story a little bit more. I really want to know more about Blacktop Bill. But yeah, so those are the books I read. So I read this week's books. I have not read the previous week's books because I was actually out of town and I got those books as well. So I have another stack here. I'm going to try to get those read before next Wednesday and do another review video, maybe a companion video Monday or Tuesday or something like that. Or I might double up my videos on Wednesday, perhaps. So let me know in the comments what you read, what you thought. Did you read any of these books? What did you think? I'm curious to know what people actually thought about Out of Body. Did this kind of meet your expectations, as well as Basilisk? Because I feel like those are the two new books from indies. Of course, Nice House on the Lake. I haven't heard anybody say they didn't like it. So did you guys read these two books in particular? And what did you think of them? Did they meet your expectations? So let me know in the comments below. Again, while you're down there, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ding, ding, ding that notification bell for future videos. You guys have a great night. We will see you in the comments.